Alright guys, we're back. Cal Clash Fitness, you know where we are by now. Now today we're talking about a follow-up video from my recent post, how to run uphill correctly. This time we're going to be talking about how to run downhill correctly. Now there's quite a lot of interest in this, and really it's something that a lot of runners, or most runners, never give any consideration to. To be honest, most runners never give any consideration to any kind of running technique. So the fact that you're even here and thinking about how to run downhill properly already means or suggests that you've probably already addressed your normal running technique on the flats. You've probably already checked out my video about how to run uphill correctly. So now here we are, we're going to be talking about how to run downhill correctly. It's a brilliant place to be. Now why should you do this? Okay, first and foremost, there's going to be less impact, stress on your bones and on your joints. Okay, so a massive winner right there. That's going to lead to reduced risk of injury. Okay, so reduced risk of runner's knee, reduced risk of shin splints especially, all that typical type of nonsense that a lot of runners get. Far reduced risk of all that kind of stuff. Less energy expenditure, which means you can run much further, much faster for longer. Okay, and how you'll do that is you'll actually be using gravity. Okay, so while we talked about sort of gravity being your enemy uphill but trying to use it to your advantage, gravity when running downhill seems obvious, but actually it really isn't. Is gravity should be your friend. Gravity is doing the vast majority of the work for you when you're running downhill. Okay, so just imagine, put yourself back when you was a 5-year-old kid, or if you see kids running downhill now, you just used to go for it, didn't you? You just used to absolutely go for it. You would have no control over your body, and you would have no fear falling over, no fear of the repercussions. You would just run. You would just go, and it would be gravity in control. Not you, gravity. Okay? We need to tap into that a little bit when we're talking about how to run downhill today. Okay? You need to get that childlike mentality. Just bring it under control a little bit, so we don't want everyone tumbling down hills and all the rest of it. Alright? So we need to use gravity. Gravity is going to be your friend. And the analogy that I like to use is, you imagine a nice smooth hill and a downward staircase, okay? And if you take a bike and you go downhill on that bike, it's going to be a nice, fluid, quick motion, and you're barely going to have to expend any energy or any energy at all in going downhill. You're just going to flow nice and easy down the hill. Now a lot of runners actually run as if they're running down steps instead of downhill, okay? So instead of having that nice fluid motion downhill, actually they're running in sort of a jagged staircase sort of fashion, okay? And the reason they're doing this is that, as per usual, overstriding. So regardless of if you're landing on your toes or on your heel, which is always incorrect in my opinion, overstriding leads to that staircase effect, okay? So you overstride, and of course if you normally overstride, it's not great, but it's not going to be as big of a deal as when you're landing downhill, because guess what, if you're overstriding, the ground is a lot further away, and you're going to be having a lot more impact, a lot more braking motion, and it's going to be incredibly uncomfortable and not good. Okay, and what that's going to result in is a very jerky run downhill. So overstriding, jerk, overstriding, jerk, like this. Not good. Not the way you want to be running. Okay, so you want to keep everything fluid, just like a bike rolling down the hill. Okay, no energy or little energy. Gravity's doing the work, and the way your technique is working is allowing for that to happen. Right? So the first thing we need to do is, again, have a slight forward lean, and this forward lean will depend on the gradient of the hill as well. So the steeper it is, probably the less you're going to want to lean forward there, but you will want that forward lean. Right? So you have a forward lean, you can adjust that depending on the gradient of the hill, but you want it just so that it's about to make you feel as if you're about to fall forward, okay? Because that's gravity pulling you forward. If you're not feeling that pull, then you're not doing it properly, right? So you want to be able to feel gravity pulling you forward, right? And as with normal running, or correct running technique, your legs, your feet need to be landing just behind your centre of mass, if you're doing it really correctly, okay? So normally you'd land underneath your centre of mass. This time we're landing just just behind your centre of mass there. What that's allowing you to do is keep that quick turnover and keep that forward momentum coming, right? So leaning forward, head up, shoulders, the usual, no difference here, but you're just using your arms to balance yourself, and your feet are landing behind, just behind your centre of mass, leaning forward, and then you can turn your feet over really quick. So you're not really pushing away, you're not launching yourself away from the heel and down, you're not certainly not launching yourself up, you're just sort of letting your feet turn over, kick backwards really quickly, a little bit like how in the Roadrunner cartoons the legs were just turning over behind you. Your feet really are just touching the ground and kicking back off just really quickly, really lightly, spinning down that hill. Okay, so there's not much distance in between your foot and the strike, and you're just nice and quickly kicking off, and not kicking your bike over hopefully, but kicking off, kicking back, and spinning your feet and legs really quickly. Okay, it's as simple as that. It really is as simple as that. If you've got your normal technique sorted out, all you really need to do is make sure you're leaning forward and your feet are landing slightly further back than usual. Not a massive amount, but just slightly further to allow gravity to pull you forward. Okay, it is going to feel uncomfortable, it's not going to feel natural to start with, and it can psychologically feel a little bit scary depending on the gradient in having that gravity pulling you forward. It's going to feel like you're about to fall, and it will take a long while. As with anything that's worth doing, it will take a lot of practice. It will be difficult to start with, but it will become easier as you become used to it. Okay, but it will make you quicker, it will reduce your risk of injury running downhill, be less impact, and it's just going to be far more enjoyable. And guess what, you're going to have more energy for the next upward hill effort. You're going to have conserved energy maybe after running up a hard effort, and you're going to have far more energy than all the other people that are overstriding, jerking, smashing the shit out of their joints as they run downhill incorrectly in that staircase sort of fashion. Okay, that's my tips on how to run downhill. Please subscribe, please leave me a comment. You know, your comments really keep me going. They ping through on my phone when I'm at work, or I'm at home or doing whatever. Your comments ping through on my phone. I always love to read them. Please leave me a comment down below. Please like my stuff. I've got a new Twitter handle on the way because my last one got hacked. I'm sorting out a blog as well, so please keep an eye out for those. More on those coming soon. Please subscribe. Let's keep it rolling.